What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's the good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here, and where you have some hellfire, you have to bring some praise to help balance things out, and we got just that from Aaron Rodgers during his press conference yesterday, where he singularly and unprovoked called out undrafted free agent safety Jarius Monroe to give him a bit of a shout out, a little bit of a big ups to hopefully end the season strong, right? We're just coming off of some of the commentary from Aaron Rodgers where he's mentioning, he kind of wants to see who's still out there making the effort to get the team better, get themselves better, and who's kind of mailing it in, right? And just going through the motions to collect their checks and then, get home, rest up, and do whatever it is they're going to do, since once again, we won't be facing the playoffs. But let's get into the comments specifically here. A specific shout out for a guy who does it right all the time, not just some of the time, all the time. And that's Jerius Monroe, who just got elevated to the active roster. So shout out Jerius. He's a phenomenal young guy. Now, for those that don't know, Jerius Monroe was coming out of Tulane, and he's a guy that actually was a cornerback coming into the New York Jets undrafted free agent class. And in an effort to try to just get him on the field and see some significant time, they made the switch, right? So he's converting to safety, which is where he's playing now in year one for the New York Jets, is where he's been working to develop himself the entire time this offseason. But, when you look at this, I couldn't look down on you if you were wondering who's Jerius Monroe. Why is Aaron Rodgers shouting him out? Because he hasn't been in a ton of games. He hasn't racked up a ton of snaps. He hasn't, filled out the stat sheet in any particular games. But he did offer a lot of upside for the New York Jets, right? A 6'+ guy, 200+ guy, had strong coverage skills, was a guy that was really known for man coverage, and he was one of those program foundation type guys for Tulane that I would say where you see him really build himself up as his career progressed and turned himself into the go-to guy for that defense. And so he was one of the underrated gems that I admired, right? I did breakdowns for pretty much all of our undrafted free agent class from last year, so I'm pretty familiar with him, but I can't knock you again if you aren't. With that said, when you take a look at what he's done so far, he's been elevated for 3 games. He literally has less than 50 snaps, including special teams. I believe it's 17 on defense and 28 on special teams. Some of the best things to him so far, if you want to try to get in the nitty gritty and pick things out, he's been targeted twice, hasn't allowed any completions. Other than that, you really have to go back to the preseason to see any kind of major upside, right? Where he racked up about 16 tackles, and he was, I forget how many times he was targeted, but he only allowed 5 catches throughout the course of the preseason over the duration of about 65 coverage snaps, which ranked him 5th out of 203 safeties to qualify for whatever, right? So really, I wanted to talk about Jerius Monroe just because we need to find any kind of inkling, right, of who can fill out this safety room next year. The New York Jets highly unlikely are not going to go in and try to draft and or sign 4 new safeties to help run the defense, right? And if you get a guy like Aaron Glenn, who even puts a further emphasis on DB play and maybe will want more guys back there to toy around with, you're going to have to do more, right? Plus, again, draft, undrafted free agents, free agency in and of itself. You want to fill out enough so that you have enough snaps to go around and you're not really burning some of these guys into the ground when, training camp and stuff comes. Nobody really sticks out. Sadly, Tony Adams hasn't really developed into the guy that we want, and I think a lot of that was Robert Saleh exiting early this year. Ashton Davis Doesn't look like he's a starter. Definitely, we have some backup type guys, right? And really, if we're walking away from anything here, I think you can say hopefully we see a lot more of Jarius Monroe over these next 2 games, and we get a little bit of a better picture for what he might do, strongly, where he fits into the picture. But right now, I'm looking at all of these guys as just a potential backup or 2 for the New York Jets next year, and we need to find a way to get starters, right? Which is sad, because to kind of wrap up this thought here, I look at us letting guys like Trey Dean go. I look at us not being able to lock in somebody like Lewis Seen when the Vikings released him over the course of the preseason. And it's not like Lewis Seen, by the way, went on to do anything spectacular from what I'm aware of. Trey Dean might be a little bit of a different story, but again, I don't think it's anything top tier. So it's not a huge loss, but when you just look at the caliber of players we could have been trying to mold and work with, as opposed to us really just settling for a lot of our career backup guys so far, and then a lot of undrafted free agents that have tools, they have athletic traits, but not necessarily the instincts that you have from playing that position for years and years and years, and the experience and all that kind of stuff, right? So nonetheless, it's worth noting that Jarius Monroe at least has the discipline. He has the work ethic. He has a lot of what you're looking for. With Aaron Rodgers' praise, yes, we don't have, a specific stat we can go to and, shed a ton of praise and look at him as an underrated gem in Jarius Monroe. But over the course of Aaron Rodgers' career, he's made a living out of being able to fool and deceive safeties and find ways to manipulate him and stuff. So when he sees guys like in Harrison Smith, etc., who I'm not comparing to Jarius Monroe, but essentially what I'm getting here to is the fact that Aaron Rodgers knows the making of a good safety when he sees one. So hopefully this is like a great parting gift from Aaron Rodgers, and we see Jarius Monroe come back next year and maybe completely ball out and find himself in a key role, maybe a starting position if we get really, really crazy here with the thoughts. But ultimately, let me know what you guys think. Maybe he's someone you should pay attention to moving forward. Other than that, appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you again. Peace.